Hello my friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Olivia, or Liv. If you've never been here before, thank you so much for clicking on this video. So excited to share with you guys the must-read books on my April TBR because there are so many good spring reads. There's a ton of new releases in April. I honestly think this is the biggest month out of the year that I'm the most excited for. So stay tuned to hear what all those new releases are. But before we dive into all the books that hopefully I will be reading this month, I wanted to take a minute and thank today's sponsor, which is Book of the Month. Book of the Month is a super popular and fast-growing online book service for readers, and their mission is to promote new and emerging authors and help readers to discover books they love. Their team vets hundreds of books each month and gives readers like you and me their choice from a curated selection of new and early release titles, so then you can spend more time reading and less time researching. Book of the Month is risk-free, you can skip any month, anytime, and you will not be charged. Plus, they even have the best price for new release hardcover fiction. You can get your first hardcover book today for only $9.99 using the code SPRING. This year, I really want to try my hardest to find a new favorite thriller author, so I decided to choose The Only Survivors by Megan Miranda. I have never read anything by this author before, but the covers always pique my interest, and this one sounds absolutely phenomenal. So when I saw April's Book of the Month choices and I saw this one was on the list, I knew immediately this was my chance to finally give this author a go, and I have really high hopes for this one specifically. It just sounds right up my alley, but you definitely don't have to pick up the same book as I did. You can go to the Book of the Month site now that is in my description, check out their selections, and you can get your first book for only $9.99, like I said, using the code SPRING. Thank you once again so much to Book of the Month for sponsoring this video, but let's go ahead and dive right into all the books that I plan to read in the month of April. I could not be more excited to finally talk about my first Patreon book club pick for the Tea Time Society. You guys voted and we chose Flowerheart by Catherine Bakewell. If this does not look like the perfect book to read this time of year, I don't know what does. This is full of fairy tale, cottagecore vibes. There's a second chance romance, and on the inside it sounds really sad but really heartfelt. It says, Claire's magic has always been wild, but it's never been dangerous. Then a simple touch causes poisonous flowers to bloom in her father's chest. The only way to heal him is to cast an extremely difficult spell that requires perfect control. It sounds like she is going to be interacting with her previous best friend or her childhood best friend, and this just sounds like the perfect formula to be an amazing standalone fantasy. And if you guys want to join us, you can go to my Patreon in the description below. We will be picking a book a month and reading it together and discussing it on a live discussion, and my friend Kendal is actually going to be the first co-host for the first ever month, and we both are just over the moon excited to read this one. So if you want to join us, the live discussion will be on Thursday, May 4th. That being said, also going on my Patreon, we are doing our first ever bi-monthly readathon. I am also so excited to do these 24 or 48 hour readathons with you guys. I think it's just going to be such a fun time to come together as a little cozy community, do some reading sprints, knock out a ton of reading, and I just get to chat with you guys, which is the best part about it. So I decided to call this 48 hour readathon that's taking place April 15th through 16th the Spring Fling Readathon, because it rhymes, but it also just gives me kind of like those feel good kind of cute romance feelings, I guess. There's only 3 simple prompts to this, and the first one is going to be read a book with flowers or plants on the cover. And so for this one, I decided I was going to read Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. This is a brand new release coming out April 4th, and I am going into this one pretty blind. The only thing I know about it is about 2 journalists that write love letters back and forth, but it's also fantasy and it has to do with something about the higher ups or for the gods. I know it's not Greek mythology, but I'm just very curious how she's going to weave all these elements into the story to make it a love story, and it's also going to be a series. So I am just over the moon excited to finally read a Rebecca Ross. I thought about reading her previous duology first, but because this is a young adult, I feel like it's just gonna help me dip my toes into her writing a little bit better. So I am so excited to finally read this. I am trying my best to keep up with all the new releases, and so I feel like this readathon is gonna be perfect to finally get to this one. The next prompt is just to read a cute romance, something that makes you feel good. It doesn't even have to be a romance book. It could just be a romance in a graphic novel. It could be a romance in a fantasy. But for this one, I'm definitely going to be reading Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez. It comes out just 4 days before this readathon starts, and I need it right now. Like, I need it right now. I am so excited for this. From what I remember, it follows the main character's best friend from the first book, and I believe her name is Brianna, and she's a doctor. So it's kind of like a doctor story. I know there's like love notes written back and forth, and basically anything by Abby Jimenez I need to read. I only have 2 of her other books that I haven't read, and so I'm kind of holding off. I want to savor them, but this one I'm definitely going to be reading right away. And the last prompt is just to read a spring graphic novel, and this can be up to your interpretation. It could actually be set in spring, or just a graphic novel in general that reminds you of the spring season. And for this one, I'm going to be reading Enola Holmes the graphic novel. This is book 1. There's actually 3 stories inside of this, and I believe there's 2 books out right now that have mini stories inside of them. I didn't even know this existed. I don't even remember how I came across it, but is this not the cutest thing ever? And of course you have some like cherry blossoms here and butterflies, and the inside just has such fun, quirky artwork. And there's even portions where you can get a glimpse of Enola's notebook where there's questions and she logs things, so you can kind of solve the mysteries with her. And I think this is just gonna be so much fun. I'm obsessed with the Enola Holmes movies. I have not read any of the books, but when I saw this, I knew immediately I needed to pick it up. And yeah, I just wanted to share it with you guys because I had never heard of this before, and I can already tell I'm definitely gonna be picking up book 2. And because I'm extra and it's my own readathon, so I can do what I want, I'm also going to be trying to fit in the Mothkeeper by Katie O'Neill. This is a new middle grade graphic novel. She also wrote the Tea Dragon Society. I do not know much about this one at all. I love the artwork inside of this one, and the Tea Dragon Society is such a cute, heartwarming story, and I have no doubt this one is going to be the same. So of course I had to fit this one in my TBR if I end up having the time to read a second graphic novel. But if you are interested at all in joining my book club or joining the readathon, go ahead and head over to my Patreon page. You can join there, and it's just gonna be a whole lot of fun and get us in the spring mood, so I am super excited. And the next book club that I'm actually going to be helping to co-host for the month of April is Sleep When I'm Dead, which is hosted by Jess. If you guys don't know her, I will leave all of her information in the description, but we are going to be reading The Writing Retreat by Julia Bartz. And I'm not gonna lie, I am a little bit scared to read this one, but the premise just sounds like something that I cannot get out of my head. It just sounds so fun and so intriguing. Basically, there's all these writers that go on a retreat, and when they get there, they realize that they are being forced to write a novel from start to finish. And I don't know what happens if they don't complete that task, but I've heard crazy wild things about this. A couple people have told me I'm not gonna like it, but that's kind of what makes me actually want to read it because it just sounds like a very unique story. My friend Rachel, who reads a ton of mystery thrillers, said that this one has definitely stood out from a lot of others that she's read. So that could be a good thing, that could be a bad thing, but I'm mostly just excited to discuss with Jess to kind of see what we both think and what you guys think. So if you're interested in hopping on the train with us and reading this, I will leave all of the information down below. But if you've already read this book before, you can definitely still jump on the live and share all your thoughts and opinions on Thursday, April 27th. And the last book club that I am going to be participating in is the Cozy Hollow Book Club. They are going to be reading A Sprinkling of Murder, which apparently is like an enchanting garden with sprites, and there's some type of murder, of course. I don't know anything about this. The book is actually coming in the mail today, but I am so excited. Even though April is going to be an insane, crazy month, there's so much going on. I knew I had to pick this one up because it fits the spring season perfectly, so I had to jump on the train with this one. But if you guys have never heard of the Cozy Hollow Book Club before, it is hosted by my friends Caitlin, Lauren, and Rachel, who I will again leave in the description below. But they always read cute, cozy mysteries, and their book club picks are literally perfect. It's a bi-monthly book club, so it's definitely not too difficult to keep up with. I am definitely going to be picking this one up for April. Next, I'm going to be diving into 2 buddy reads that hopefully I will be able to accomplish this month. Truth be told, I read 3 Sarah J. Maas books back to back in March, and I am just ready to keep going with this momentum that I have. And the next book I have to read is Heir of Fire in the Throne of Glass series. I cannot believe it has taken me so freaking long to give this series a second chance. I gave Throne of Glass, I think, 2 stars back in 2018 or 2019, but let me just tell you, I am so mad at myself for not continuing on because Crown of Midnight was 10 times better, and this one comes next. And I'm also buddy reading it loosely with my friends Elizabeth and Kendal, so in order to stay on task with them, I am going to be starting this one. I cannot tell you what this is about because of spoilers, but just know I am enjoying every single bit of Sarah J. Maas right now, and I have no regrets. I may just blow through the rest of the series and forget this whole TBR. I am just hardcore mood reading right now, and this is my mood, so we are just gonna go with it. The next book I'm going to be reading is The Minuscule Mansion of Myra Malone with my friend Keisha. I really want to make this one a priority. I think I've talked about this in so many other videos, but it sounds like a literary kind of magical realism story sprinkled with romance but also mystery. It's literally so hard for me to describe this book, and I really just want to find out for myself how the author kind of weaves the story together. So I am very excited to finally get to this one. It's one of my most anticipated releases, and as far as I know, this is a debut author, so you guys will definitely have to check it out as well. The 2 other fantasy books that I absolutely have to read as soon as humanly possible is The Serpent and the Wings of Night by Carissa Broadbent. I have seen this book all over Goodreads, I've seen it all over YouTube and even Bookstagram, and this is just my sign to finally read this author. I do not know what to expect other than there's adult vampires and it reads like the Hunger Games. So I guess there's some type of competition. I do know it's romantasy, so of course there's going to be some romance in there, and my friend Lauren just finished this and gave it a whopping 5 stars, so I am just very eager to see what I think of this one, especially because she's been compared to Sarah J. Maas, which is my current mood right now. So I think this is going to be a really good series. I want to say the second one comes out mid-April, so if I love this one, I definitely don't have long to wait for the second one, and I'm just hoping that my prediction is correct and I'm going to be another one of those people that gives this 5 stars. The next book that is also another brand new release, that is another fantasy that I cannot wait to jump into, is The Last Heir to Blackwood Library by Hester Fox. For some reason, it's not coming to my brain what else this author has written, but I do know this is not a debut, but it is a standalone, which makes me even more excited. This is one of those books that the vibes just hit me and I know I need to read it. Just from the back, there are so many buzzwords like ghosts, there's a magical library, there's like a suspicious mystery going on, it's gothic at an estate. If this isn't 5 stars, I think I might cry because this sounds like the perfect book for me. But if you have not heard of this book, you have not picked it up yet, comes out April 4th, and I am just so excited to finally have this anticipated release in my hands. I had to add a couple more cozy spring mysteries to my list because there's so many good ones to read around this time of year, and one of the top ones that I must read, because I think I pulled this from my 2023 mug in February or March, is Shady Hollow by Juneau Black. all of my friends love this one, including so many people on Bookstagram. It is about time that I finally read this. I don't know what's holding me back. Maybe because all of the characters in here are animals, but they do have human characteristics. I don't think I've ever read a book like that before, but it does have me a little bit intrigued, I'm not gonna lie. And I also want to know what the murder mystery is because it doesn't say on the back. So I'm very excited, especially because this is an author duo, which I also think is very unique and interesting. So yeah, hopefully this will be the month I finally pick this one up. And then I also have Daisies for Innocence by Bailey Cottrell. This one is an enchanted garden mystery, and the corgi on the front completely had me sold. The enchanted garden behind Eliana Albright's perfume shop draws people of all ages with its fragrant flowers and lush greenery. But when the magical serenity is interrupted, it's up to Ellie to track down a killer. The vibes in this book sound absolutely perfect. I mean, the perfume shop that kind of acts as like potions sounds kind of witchy and magical, and I'm just so here for it. And another spring vibe book that I absolutely must get to either this month or next month is Garden Spells by Sarah Addison Allen. She also wrote Other Birds, which absolutely blew up during the fall, but I thought it would be fun to read this one first because I think it was published first. But the only thing I've heard this compared to is Practical Magic mixed with like Tuck Everlasting or The Secret Garden. So this just sounds like it will be a very laid back, more contemporary read to get through, but if the vibes are there, I mean, it sounds like there's going to be gardens and it's set in North Carolina, and it just, it sounds perfect, that small town feel that I'm looking for. I've heard nothing but great things about this book and this author, so I have really high hopes for this one. In honor of Daisy Jones and the Six coming out this past month, which absolutely blew me out of the water and reminded me how much I absolutely love that book, I could not decide if I wanted to reread that book or read another Taylor Jenkins Reid backlist, and I think I decided to go ahead and pick up After I Do. This is one of her books that definitely has me a little bit skeptical because it's about a married couple who say they decide to take a year off from their relationship with no strings attached, but when this little experiment is over, they decide to come back together and just share what they learned, and I really think this is going to just absolutely make me sob. One True Loves is like probably my favorite Taylor Jenkins Reid book, which is another backlist, and there's just something so special about her older books that just hit different, and I really think this could be another 5 stars for me. I have multiple friends that love this one, and even though it scares me just a little bit, I think it could be the possibility to be another one of my favorites. And last but not least, I had to add in The Soulmate by Sally Hepworth. I'm not only going to get to meet Sally, but she came out with a new book that I am so excited about because this one sounds a lot more thrillery than her other books have. This takes place in a cozy kind of cottage on a cliff where a couple, a husband and wife, live, and apparently this cliff is a very popular place for people to actually jump off of, and I guess one of the victims that jumps off has a tie to the woman's husband, and so she's unraveling all these secrets about him, and he's been known, or they've been known, to save these people from jumping off the cliff, but I don't know much more than that. It definitely sounds very hard-hitting with a lot of triggers, so I would definitely look those up for yourself before diving into this one, but I am so excited about it. I feel like she's taking a little bit of a different direction than she typically goes, but no doubt there's going to be so many valuable lessons that the characters learn in this book. I feel like every book that I read from her just keeps getting better and better, and I just love her messages in her books. So I'm so excited to finally have another Sally Hepworth in my hands. But I think that is all the books I wanted to share with you. As you can tell, I'm in a huge reading mood right now, and I'm definitely throwing a bunch of random books or books from different genres into this list so that I have some to choose from, but also kind of keep me on track a little bit. April is going to be a very busy month with the first first time for my book club, reading and participating in another book club, and of course co-hosting another one, as well as a readathon. And there's just going to be so many fun things that are just amping me up for April, and I am so excited. Before you leave, go ahead and leave a flower emoji in the comments section. Let me know what you're excited to read. Go ahead and check out my Patreon if you haven't been over there yet. Thank you so much also to Book of the Month for sponsoring this video, and thank you to you guys for always supporting and watching my videos. I love you guys so incredibly much, and I will see you in my next one.